Welcome to the August All Staff, All Volunteers meeting. We've got a great meeting today, including a couple of serious topics I want to talk about in just a moment. But to start, this is actually a park bench across from the Hopkinsville City Hall. And you can see it has been painted. Here's the moon, the sun, and here's Edgar Casey pulling the moon over the sun. So this is right at City Hall in Hopkinsville. And this here is a picture of Edgar Casey wearing eclipse glasses. I pulled this off of the Museum of Historic Hopkinsville website. They have a picture of Edgar Casey on the front. Well, they've put these eclipse glasses on him. Hopkinsville is now known for two things, Edgar Casey and the eclipse. So we will be going on a tour here starting Friday. We'll have 33 people going, and pray that it's not too overcast while we're over there. Okay, because other things have been in the news, which we'll talk about in just a moment, you may not have heard that there was a tragedy in Sierra Leone. And you may not know that there is an Edgar Casey Center in Sierra Leone. In fact, the head of the center, the president of the center, Mohammed Kamara, has been here at Congress. He was here, I think, in 2015, started the center shortly thereafter, working with Levan, and they have, last I heard, over 100 active people in the center and study groups there in Sierra Leone. Well, Monday night there was a horrific downpour in Sierra Leone, and it basically wiped out their main city, which is where the center is. So here is a note Levan got from Muhammad. He's asking that we hold him in his prayers. Here's what the center looked like. Here he is, and here's some of his study group members. Hi, Levan. I'm saddened to inform you that we are in a devastating situation here in Sierra Leone. It was at 3 a.m. when a heavy flooding took place at the capital city that destroyed over 400 lives, and including properties. However, 40 of our members lost their lives, and the A.R.E. Center is completely destroyed. The entire city is in a combustible situation, and the rain is still posing a serious threat in the city. We found some bodies, but some are still missing. I'm confused and don't know what to do in order to overcome this trauma. Please share this information to all members around the globe. Kind regards, Mohammed Kamara. So Levan has let the international community know. I would just like to invite you all to join with me in a few moments of prayer for the people of Sierra Leone and for Mohammed and his group there. Mother, Father God, we pray for your divine presence and your intervention, bringing the world powers together to help these people of Sierra Leone. Thank you. Now, the second serious topic I wanted to talk to you about is about what's going on in Charlottesville and elsewhere. And as you know, at the meetings, I like to pick out a reading that somehow inspires me. And so the one I picked out today, I think, ties into what's been going on. And this reading was given in 1942. People here in the United States were very concerned about World War II. And so they asked Mr. Casey, they're asleep on the couch, to give them a reading on how we could bring about world peace. So let me show that to you. More wars, more bloodshed have been shed over the racial and religious differences than over any other problem. These two must go the way of all others. And humankind must learn, if we will ever know the peace is promised by him, that God loveth those who love him, whether they be called of this or that sect or schism or ism or cult. The Lord is one. Now later on, the reading goes on to kind of chastise some of the people sitting there, and I think this is what's appropriate for all of us. You cannot pray, peace, peace, when there's no peace in thine own heart and soul. But by knowing, for his Spirit answers with thy spirit, that each day, each person you meet is glad that you are alive, glad that you have come in touch with them, for you have brought and bring hope to their lives, just in the passing. This means then that you may so live the life as he emulated in the earth, that you radiate life, joy, peace, that which casteth out fear, by living, by being, by doing unto others, for others that you would like others to do unto you. Only as ye use that birthright, that purpose, that will within thine own consciousness to do justice, to do right, to love good, to eschew evil. May ye as individuals, as a group, as a nation, stand between the living and the dead, and stay the sin that maketh man make war of any nature against his brother. So what that means to me, I think, is that we cannot be pointing our fingers about what's going on elsewhere in the world, whether it's Charlottesville or North Korea or Venezuela, and at the same time, we have neighbors that we don't acknowledge or we try to avoid when they're outside. We can't get upset about what's going on in the world if we have family members that we haven't spoken to. We can't get upset about what's going on in the world if here at work somebody irritated us 6 months ago and we look everywhere we can to say, do you know what so-and-so did to me? If we really want to be representatives of this work, I think we have to take this to heart. And we have to heal and bring peace into our own environment. And believe it or not, that's going to set up a resonance of a vibration, if you will, that will help transform the world. So I just want to say that do whatever you can to bring peace in your own life, and I think this will help create peace in the world. Thank you. Now, on with the meeting. About every 10 years or so, the Board of Trustees looks at our ideal and mission statement and our purpose and kind of reformulates the way it's worded for a contemporary audience. And I sent out an email earlier about what the new choice had been at the June meeting, but what I'd like to do is bring this up every staff meeting, staff and volunteer meeting, so that if someone asks you in an elevator, well, what do they do at Edgar Cayce's A.R.E., you'll be able to quote some portion of this. So, in terms of the phrasing of our ideal mission, the ideal vision, is global manifestation of oneness and the love of God and all people. So let's say that together. What is this work's ideal vision? Global manifestation of oneness and the love of God and all people. And in terms of our mission statement, to create opportunities for profound personal change in body, mind, and spirit through the wisdom found in the Edgar Cayce material. So let's try that one. To create opportunities for profound personal change in body, mind, and spirit through the wisdom found in the Edgar Cayce material. And that's true in so many of the things we do here. The main purpose of this work, I think, is educational outreach. That ties in with all of our activities, whether it's study groups, whether it's sending books to prisoners, whether it's a conference that goes on here, whether it's the transformational program at the Casey Riley School of Massage, the online programs for Atlantic University, people coming to the Visitor Center, people coming to the library, whatever it might be. We really help people profoundly transform their own lives. Now, on a humorous note, I've told you all before that I often get testimonials about this work. And the one I want to share with you today made me smile. This is from an 83-year-old member, been a member for a long time. This was her testimonial that came in. I started with Edgar Cayce when I was 15. I'm 83 now. Despite my Catholic school education, I felt something was missing. When my cousin gave me a copy of the Cayce biography, There Was a River, it changed my life. I've reached a lot of people with my beliefs, and their interest in Edgar Cayce has grown as they've aged. I used to be considered pretty odd by my peers. I'm now considered a wise woman, although I have doubts about that. And people often come to me for advice on life and death. My membership is now sponsored since I cannot afford it any longer, but my interest has not waned one iota. I used to attend many conferences in Virginia Beach and even went to Bimini to look for Atlantis with the A.R.E. to see if we could find it. That experience taught me that Atlantis won't be found by a group of middle-aged women with teaspoons for digging, but with side-scan sonar when it is time to become known. My life has truly been one of adventure and joy. So, great testimony. All right. We're going again. Jenny's leading a tour with teaspoons next year to Bimini. So, we have a number of new staff and staff changes to introduce. So, who wants to start? I know we have a number. Okay. I don't know if we're, yeah, it looks like we're on.
We have a new primary part-time conferences facilitator, and it's Gary Blauert. I'm not sure if he's here.
He is.
There's Gary. Stand up, Gary. So he survived his first conference this past weekend, and he's working with Joella and Renee to make sure everybody's taken care of.
And Gary's reincarnated here. He used to work in our spa and health center. Anybody else? New staff changes?
Good morning. Please help me welcome Maya Nikitovich, our new on-call at the Visitor Center.
Anybody else?
I'd like to announce that we now have a volunteer coordinator in the prison program, and that would be Brenda. Stand up, please, Brenda. She's training our volunteers on the computer in addition to all the other stuff that she does for us. And one of those volunteers is new. Would you stand up, Diane? Diane Fredsall. She's answering all of the electronic email requests from family members and friends who want books sent to their loved ones in prison. So, good crew. Thank you.
Anybody else? New staff, staff changes? Going once? Okay, next up we have updates from our managers and supervisors about what's going on in your respective area.
Good morning. Oh, he did that really quickly. Okay, well, I'll do the spa real quick. I'm Haley Reynolds, and I'm the supervisor of the spa. There's not too much going on there other than people are loving the hour-long AlphaSphere program. We had 6 of them yesterday, so we're really excited about that. If you haven't tried it, it's actually really amazing. I enjoy it a lot. So, but I also am the recognition committee chair, and I just wanted to go over a few things that have changed that's going to affect the staff here. So as you saw in my email a few weeks ago, we now have a Spotlight Award, and this has replaced the Employee of the Quarter Award, so don't expect to see those emails anytime soon. With this award, you can nominate a coworker at any time, but I will send out monthly reminders, which will be actually this afternoon. I'm going to send out a reminder. And this award is centered around the promotion and the recognition of the A.R.E. core values in everyday work life. As the organization recognizes and values the efforts of our employees, it will continue to nurture encouragement and support of employee appreciation and say thank you for doing an amazing job. So keep a lookout for that reminder. And please remember that you can recognize your coworker any day of the week. So as you can see, Angie sent out an email probably about 2 months ago of that picture below. Cassie and I have vaudeville kits in our offices, so you can always call us, email us, see if we're available, or when you can come in and grab a few and appreciate your coworkers as much as you can. And last but not least, if you guys have any ideas on how to better recognize the staff here, please email me. We would love to hear from our staff members because we're recognizing you, so we have to know what you guys want. So other than that, that's about it. Thank you. Everyone's shy today.
Yeah. I have a presentation later on this morning, so I'm not going to talk about marketing right now, but I'm Jenny from marketing. I'm going to talk a little bit about marketing. Anyway, I'm going to tell you about something that marketing's working with IT on. IT has found an online intranet-style program called Workplace, and it's free. It was free for us. This is a picture of it right there. And I've been helping them develop some of the content for it. So our idea is that this will help make your life easier. So, for example, if you want to find a staff member's extension number and you can't remember where you put that, or you need to do a web request and you can't remember what the link is, or you want to ask for a video from Kevin but you don't know where that form is, all of these things are going to be in one place in Workplace. And we're going to offer training to managers and supervisors and then let them show their staff And the other reason we really like it is because it's a great place to do teamwork. So, for example, there's a group of us from many different departments working on next year's expo. I think many of you know we're having a Body, Mind, Soul Expo at the Convention Center next August. So there's a lot of legwork that needs to be done on that. We've been emailing each other, we've been meeting, but this could be a place where we could keep all that content together, and then anytime any of us on the team needed to get an update or see what's there, they would go right to the team on Workplace. So I'm going to show you just a few things on here. This is a group called Staff Resources and Forms, so that's what's been developed so far. So you can grab the telephone list, you can get into Paylocity, don't know where that link is, it's right here. We even put the company ID here. Is that a problem for anybody? Because I can't seem to remember those 5 numbers. If you don't remember the email address to contact IT, that's here. How to request a video, even a link to the LogMeIn app, or if you want to get on Office 365, the link is here. So everything's right here under staff resources. Right now I'm going to show you a video. It's just 3 minutes about Workplace, and then I will sit down. Tim? Uh-oh. Do I need to do anything, Kevin, for this volume to work? I don't want to skip.
Check the speaker settings in the bottom right corner.
Oh, okay. I see.
And voice and video calls. You and your team can get things done. Your workplace account is completely separate from personal Facebook. Let's take a look at each of the features. Use groups for your project team, your office, for the company running club, whatever you like. You have control over just how open or closed to make your groups. In a group, make a new post to get a discussion started. Add a photo, video, or document to get input from the rest of the team. Respond to other posts, and bring co-workers into the conversation. Newsfeed gathers conversations from all your groups. Never miss a project update or company announcement. Newsfeed is tailored to you. Important, trending, and relevant group conversations from across your organization. In Workplace, you can instantly follow any co-worker to get their updates in your newsfeed. On their profile, you'll see who they are and how to get in touch, including sending a message with Work Chat. Follow a co-worker to stay up to date with their posts. Work Chat connects you instantly to any co-worker. Ideal for a quick one-to-one, or you can loop in more people. With Work Chat, it's easy to get everyone involved. Use it to chat, share files, even make video calls with your team, wherever they are. Use Workplace to plan a company event. Announce when and where it's happening, and see exactly who's coming. Get everyone talking before and after the event. Workplace has great search. Type the name or phrase you're looking for and get results from all across your company. Narrow your focus by searching directly inside a group or even a work chat conversation. Workplace helps you stay connected to your company wherever you are. We'll notify you when you have new messages or replies. Get notifications by email, on your computer, or on your phone. Workplace and Work Chat also come as free apps for your Android or iPhone. Get updates even when you're on the move. Make your company more productive and connected with Workplace by Facebook.
Hey guys, Steve here from Growth by Social. I recently got to test out the Facebook Workplace and I thought it would be a really good opportunity.
Yes. So Pat's asking if we're all going to use this. Yes, we are. Some of us may use it more than others, but it will be on the homepage of your internet browser. So when you open up your internet browser, you can see right away any information that we're sharing. So for example, the email that you get from Cindy with the marketing updates will probably just be posting right here. And if there's an upcoming mailing, we might post it here, things like that. Just use it for communication to make things centralized communication. Thanks, Cassie. Okay. And as far as timing, Tim will follow up with an email about it. Thanks.
I'm going to use an English accent because it makes everything so legit. Like your thing in the car that tells you to turn left, you get less irritated by it. If it's turn left, turn right, it's all right. It's an English lady, it's okay. I'm Allison Parker-Hedrick. I oversee headquarters and field conferences. We have a couple programs coming up that might be of interest to you. Would it be better like this? Okay. So emotional freedom technique, yeah, it's called tapping, is coming up in September. It's a 2-part class. There's level 1 and level 2. You don't have to have any experience to do this, or even if you do, this will help refine your skills. If you don't know what EFT or tapping is, it's basically a kind of energy work / acupuncture, only you use your fingertips and you don't puncture yourself. And I saw athletes at the Olympics using this, like before they were going up to the diving board and all, they were doing the tapping thing, and I thought, well, wow, if this works for Olympic athletes, then there's got to be something good to that. So you start with level 1, you learn the basics, you practice a lot, and then if you choose to take level 2, that happens immediately afterwards. So if you already have experience with EFT and you think you don't need level 1, you can just take level 2. Our teacher, Jan Watkins, is able to offer CEUs through her organization, so you can apply to get continuing education credits if you want those, and there'll be a certificate of completion suitable for framing when you're done. After that, we have Ancient Mysteries. We expect it's going to sell out this year. It's definitely on track to do that. We're thrilled to have Eric Von Doniken back. He is a treasure. If you haven't met him, at the very least, come down and meet him, because he is a dynamo. And on Saturday at 4 o'clock, there is a speaker reception and book signing. You can just come to that, come and meet the speakers, get your book signed, get your brochure signed, and have a really cool opportunity to not only meet Eric, but Andrew Collins, Laird Scranton, Maureen Clemens, who hasn't been here in over a decade, James Vieira, who's a new speaker for us, John Van Auken, of course, Laura Little, and Edward T. Martin, who is known for the Jesus in India book and video. After that, we have 3 programs in one, all starring Peter Woodbury. First is his one-day program on Saturday, October 21st, and that's Reincarnation Unnecessary. And that's a great one-day program, and it's a life member program. So if you're a life member and want to attend, you can sign up for that. And then we have the full week training in past life regression, hypnosis, hypnotherapy. If you're interested in hypnosis at all, a lot of people love the specialty aspect of past life regression. They find it very transformative, not only for themselves, but for other people. So even if you don't even intend to be a therapist yourself, just taking the class, you will learn a lot about the techniques, and it will help. You'll learn a lot about yourself, because throughout the week, you're going to regress people and be regressed. By the end of the week, you will know everybody's secrets. And if that wasn't enough for you, it's followed by a 4-day intensive where you regress the karma out of yourselves and each other, and it's very intensive, limited to 10 people, and it's actually sold out. So if you're interested, you can get on the waiting list, or you can take it next year, because we will repeat that in 2018. So that's what's coming up in the next couple of months. Do we have any questions? All right, I'm done.
So good morning. I'm Ellen Casey, Administrator of Tours. Kevin will be going to Hopkinsville this weekend for the solar eclipse with 33 people, and we too will be celebrating with you from our labyrinth. Did we get any solar eyewear? You do? Enough for us all? Oh, that's awesome. They will be on the labyrinth around 1 o'clock. Okay. Do we?
Our hope is that if people come, they wear them and they leave them and not take them with them so that we can have enough for Hanukkah.
Yeah. I got 8 from our supplier in Nashville. So I didn't know if that was going to help, but I figured we could share. So this would be great. All right, I'm just going to quickly go through next year because we love it when you talk about our programs. It really helps us sell our tours, and you should know about them when people call on the phone, when they come in the lobby. We have flyers out in the lobby showing next year, but let's just go through a run-through of the remainder of this year and all of next year. And I'm the one that has to do it. Here we go. So we still have our China-Tibet tour coming up for this year. This is a fabulous tour. It is sold out, and we're very excited about our people who get to go with John once again to meet our people in China, the Casey China Center, who treat our people like family. It's a wonderful trip, and we can't wait for them to go and come back and tell us. We still have our Mayan cruise coming up, and it's doing very well. We have in the 30s in numbers, and people are still calling, and this is led by Don Carroll. And they will see some new sites, and Don has good information on the Mayan aspects according to Edgar Casey. So very excited about this cruise. And now, coming up, Vietnam and Cambodia, something very new, led by Peter Woodbury. I have an outstanding tour provider who's very, very deeply spiritual and will understand all of the needs of our group. And so we're very excited about this new destination with Peter. Greece with John Van Auken, and this will be a classic Greek tour that would be somewhat similar to what Charles Thomas and Leslie used to do. John got their program, and then we're adding a 5-day cruise that will include the Isle of Patmos of the Revelation, and also in Ephesus, where the house of Mary, where Mary lived out her final days. Bimini tour with Jenny and Joan Rankett, and that one's in the design. When we're probably going to have a lot of people, apparently, because Joan Rankett has a big mailing. And so we're very excited about this possibility. I've seen some slides of a similar program, and the neat thing about this is they really communicate with the dolphins, so you learn a lot with that animal communication. And Jenny will bring the Casey part. Ecuador and Galapagos with Kevin Todeschi. He's done this tour many times as well. And people say this is one of the greatest wonders of the world to go to the Galapagos and see nature. Anything else on that, Kevin? Okay, good. Alaskan cruise with John Van Auken. And right now with the world situation as it is, people are very drawn to going on something like this Alaska cruise. It's a very popular destination because it's natural wonder, you're away from stress and worry, and you know, it's on this side of the world, so it's a little feeling safer. And then we have Renee Branch, who's going to lead our Light Camino, and there is Renee. And this one will be a gentle walk to the Santiago de Compostela. Many of you have read the books by Shirley MacLaine and seen the videos, and this is a way to go that will be easy on the body. So you walk, you do get in shape, and you walk, but when you get tired, you can take a van to the next town. So this is for the chicken-hearted and those who also aspire to being in shape. So that's what we have coming. These are our wonderful, happy people. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Christy from the bookstore. Just a couple of real quick announcements. The biggest and most exciting one is we have a Bloodmobile coming to the Psychic Fair on the 26th. And you need to schedule appointments in advance. We'd love to have staff come out and really support this effort. Obviously, the Red Cross does important work. The other thing is August 26th is also the return of Anthony Quinata for the Psychic Fair. He's an amazing medium and one of our beloved authors. So come out and see him and get a reading with him as well. He did a reading for me years ago, and he is amazing. Absolutely testimonial there. And that's about all I've got. So, thanks. Yes, ma'am. So how do we get the appointment? You make the appointment on the website redcrossblood.org, and then enter A.R.E. Any other questions? The eclipse event. Not a whole lot to tell. We're going to have, were you going to do that? Or am I jumping? Did you do that? Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to tell. We're going to have, we're trying to get the drum circle people to come out, but I haven't got anything definite from them yet. We are in communications, but we'll see. Aside from that, it's, everybody come out and see the sun. It's like 3 hours between the start and finish. Yeah. And we're hoping to get them to come out and yeah, I don't have anything definite on that yet. Anything else? Sorry? Joy Bloom. Joy's got all those drums. Joy Blooms. I did not know that. I don't know Joy Bloom. Joy Bloom works in the spa. Okay. Lead a 3-drum circle. Okay. She might be willing to bring the drums. Well, since we've already asked Arthur, I think we'll wait and see what he says, and then if not, then we'll certainly go to Joy, because that would be great. Yeah. We've got our while we're thinking of other things, I'm a little frazzled this morning, sorry. We also have our Sunday classes happening now, the wisdom workshops. Those are Sunday afternoons, and we're getting a lot of interest in those. Some exciting stuff coming up there. Always Saturday readers in the store, and again, the psychic fair on the 26th. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Patrick Belisle from A.R.E. Development, membership, and lover of camp and all things. As most of you know, I'm also a resident of Charlottesville, Virginia, where I've lived for 20 years. And this last Saturday, I did feel compelled to go down to the events that were happening up 6 blocks from my house, actually. Jane and I live right downtown Charlottesville. And I wasn't going to go down because I didn't want to give any power to the hate thoughts, and yet I felt compelled to just drawn down there to be a silent witness. Now, those of you who know me know that being a silent witness is not really my strength, but I put on my Be the Love t-shirt, and I just walked down to see what was happening, and my goodness, it was really shocking, really, not only the violence that was happening between those groups, but to see all the guns from the militia people standing on the corners to the National Guard troops that were swooping in right when I got down there because a state of emergency had just been called, to the riot police with their shields and helmets and all the rest. My favorite sight actually was this beautiful petite African-American reporter asking for an interview with this very large Confederate flag wrapped gentleman. And she was so fearless, this woman, so kind, and just talked to him like a human being. It was just really inspiring to me that this woman, who would have had every reason to be in fear, instead overcame that fear and just held herself with such composure and grace. I just thought it was a wonderful example. If any of you want to see pictures of her or any of the rest of this, I posted it on my Facebook page over the weekend. And then, wonderfully, the next day, Marianne Williamson came to Charlottesville and spoke at the Unity Church spontaneously to help us with some of the healing. Most of you know Marianne Williamson, speaker on the Course in Miracles and the like. And I live streamed that on my Facebook page so you can see her talk there as well, if that's of interest to you. One of the things, she spoke again last night up in New York, and I watched that as well. And one of the things she did last night, which I really appreciated, and I'm going to recommend for all of us, is that when she said her prayer, it was for Charlottesville and the people who were affected by the events there this weekend, but also then for our nation, for the leaders of our nation, and beautifully for the bad guys. She didn't quote it that way, but you know who I'm talking about. She was saying, let's pray for these people who really, just like us, are looking for love and connection, and they're doing it in these destructive ways. But they need the prayers, and they need our compassion. And, not just that, we got to help them find some boundaries, but you know what I'm saying. Pray for them as well. Most of you don't know this, but I was running a teen center back in the 90s when the Columbine shooting happened, and I felt compelled then too to fly out to Columbine. I went out there the next day and just did a 24-hour prayer and meditation vigil. Once again, me and my silence. And it was the same there. I saw a lot of prayer vigils happening, but everybody was praying for the victims of Columbine. And I kept throwing in, because of Edgar Casey's oneness principles, yes, let's pray for the victims, and let's pray for the shooters. Their souls need love and light for their new path as much or more, probably more, than the victims, because there's a lot of hatred being thrown their way. So in the same way, let's pray for the alt-right Nazi white supremacist folks as well. We all need the love. All right. Hi, Ellen. Heather Heyer, she was from just north of Charlottesville, Greene County. She was a paralegal for a law firm in Charlottesville, and she was out, counter-protesting. I don't know about her family. She was 32 years old and just out there to try to bring some light to these issues. But yeah, and they did some nice memorials for her as well, and the two police who died in the helicopter crash as well. All right, well, here's the happier days coming for all of us, and including our nation. All right. By the way, I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but we're all hearing it. One of the things moving toward development that we're all hearing this morning is some thuds on our heads, and that, joyfully, is the sound of library renovations happening. Yes, indeed. That's going to be a couple weeks. You guys know the library's closed, and I invite you just to pop up there and peek your head in there. It's just unbelievable what's already gone on just these first few days. Everything's wrapped in plastic, and light fixtures are taken down out of the ceiling. And Doug's here. Maybe he'll say more about it. I don't know. But he's got lots of plaster in his hair and beard and. I know, but I get to tease you. It's true. Will is taking care of it. He's doing a great job, and he's got a big staff up there, big crew, bringing stuff out of there. So bless them, and can't wait to see what they do with our library. Very exciting. Also in the development world, God bless Don Dickinson. Don has sent us a couple big checks this summer, $20,000 and $25,000 each. So bless him for helping support this great work and all of us. Jackie, with help from Amanda and company, has put out our August fundraising email, which focuses on the board of trustees and their journey with the Casey work. So I invite you to look at that as well, because do you all get that email, by the way? And it's in the donor update as well, the CEO newsletter that he sends out. But anyway, I invite you to check that out to get to know our board of trustees and hear about their commitment to this work as well and why it's so personal for them. Of course, we sent it out as a fundraising ask as well as information and uplift, but I hope you all get to look at that as well. Let's see. On the membership side, we have not gotten together with you since Congress, I think, and I am happy to tell you that we had our biggest period ever for life membership in the last in those couple months, June in particular was a big one for us. We set all the records. But in those last couple months, we got 40 new life members. So bless Terry and her hard work, and all of you for helping make all that happen. Bernadette and the front desk, all of you have helped in so many ways. But thank you, Terry, for taking the lead on that. Well done. Let's see. The other thing, I guess, Kevin, if you have those pictures up, I'll also, since we haven't seen each other since June, we had a grand opening at A.R.E camp for the new dining hall. Here's what welcomed people to the camp. That was June 30th, July 1 were the two big dates. On the June 30th evening, that Friday night, we had a party in Wytheville at this beautiful hotel, a historic hotel called the Bowling Wilson Hotel. And Kevin was there giving some props out to everybody, and Jenny and me, and of course Malenka was there and lots of folks. Denise was there, and I better stop my list because lots of you were participating, and we're grateful for that. It was really fun. So we had the hotel thing that night, and then we came out to the camp the next day for the actual grand opening ceremony. Oh, look at him go. There's Kevin Tedeschi handing out a wonderful plaque to everybody there. I know we're not used to seeing him with his shirt untucked. Kevin was in his camp mode and just giving lots of love out to everybody there that weekend. Oh, there's the hotel on Friday night. You see Jenny in the background there. That was a really fun night. We had some delicious food and just lots of love all the way around, thanking the Laprelles for their work, Greg Jackson, the architect, for his beautiful design, Trademark for their amazing work on actually building the thing, and Malenka for her leadership all the way through. There's Malenka. There's just looking at the screen on my left there, that's Duke Miller. He has been camp director for the last couple of years as we've been trying to keep our balance at camp through the craziness of rebuilding this dining hall. He did a great job with that. And then Hal Costley, a lot of you know Hal, to the next one there with the Hokie shirt on. Hal was a big, he's on my camp dining hall fundraising committee, but he also helped with Rich Hopkins lead the efforts to rebuild the the shower house, which was the project going on when the dining hall burned 2 years ago. And then the next person just there on the left, barely you can see her, is Sandy Laprelle. Sandy and John Laprelle own the land that camp is built on out there in the valley. So bless the Laprelles. And of course, we celebrated the fact that we have that new 25-year lease with the Laprelle family as well for camp. To the other side of Malenka is Greg Jackson. He's the architect I mentioned that designed this beautiful building. And then there's Kevin Tedeschi. And you see we're standing on a nice tie-dye box there at camp. That's our stage, so to speak, for the grand opening. And there's the dining hall itself on the inside in action. It is just spectacularly beautiful. Greg did such a great job bringing nature into the dining hall. If you would look to the left on this one, you see that the ceiling kind of ramps up and looks out at the mountains. It's just a gorgeous direct view out through the screens, out onto those mountains. Spectacular. Oh, there it is right there. Speaking of which, I forgot I threw that picture in there. Yeah, so that's a panorama, so it looks a little warped, but you get the idea that sitting down at those tables, you get to see those beautiful rolling hills, as well as Jenny's son Joel. Whenever you there he is. And then that's my dining hall fundraising committee, or at least all of those who could make it for that weekend. That's Patrick Walsh there on the left. His stepfather, Colonel Frank Adams, was one of the originators of camp in the valley. He was a former Army colonel who ran the camp apparently a little bit like an army. They had tents and 10 platforms the first few years at camp before they had any cabins or buildings. They were out there with Frank Adams, and so Frank was one of the ones that built the original buildings at camp. So there's Patrick is still involved with the camp. Nancy Holstein is next. She's up in New Jersey. Jill Neff, she's a pediatrician in Ohio. Hal Costley, I mentioned. Nicole Tutko lives here in Virginia Beach. She sent her kids to camp. She grew up at camp herself and then sent her own kids there. Down below Malenka is Andrea Singer. She was on the board for many years and was the chair of our fundraising committee. And then next to her is Lois Luckett. She's in Louisville, Kentucky, and she's Malenka's future mother-in-law. That's Will. That's Will's mother as well, Lois Luckett. So you know Malenka and Will met at A.R.E camp. So, and then you know the other guy there with his hand up cheering. So we had a wonderful, wonderful grand opening. Bless you all, and thank you for all your help. All right, that's it for me. Oh, and I don't know, I guess I should say too that camp wrapped up this last week, right? They had adult retreat. That was the last week at camp, and so I think they're all wrapped up for the summer. So next time you see Malenka, she'll look more relaxed and happy, I hope. All right.
Hello, Jenny again. I'm going to talk to you about marketing, focusing on our online marketing, give you an idea of what we're doing. I want to let you know that the most important part of our online marketing is, of course, our website at edgarcasey.org.
So when you first go to the group page, you can join it here. And
I have no idea where that came from. Okay. So we recently, last year, it's been a year since we redesigned our website. And I'm just going to talk a minute about why that was so important. The redesign gave us a responsive website, and you've probably heard me talk about this so many times, but that means no matter what device you visit the website on, whether it's your cell phone, your tablet, or your desktop, it's going to respond to the size of your screen, so you're able to actually use the site. It emphasizes membership, and that's an important core to everything we do here. It has event search features, which I'll show you briefly. The blog has a separate search, so if you're looking for something specific and you know it was an article on the blog, you can go to the blog page and just search there. Sidebar widgets enable us to highlight something on the side and then take it away. We can put the same thing on the side, multiple pages, and if that ends up being a book that we no longer carry, we can just take that one widget away instead of updating multiple pages. It has an improved reading database, which is actually in testing right now. The current reading database, the one we rolled out with was not as good as we had hoped. So we went back to the drawing board, so to speak, and Allison Ray's been heading up that project of getting that reading database to a place we want it to be. We're also making it so that the ECF folks can edit the readings if there's typos that are found and things like that. They can edit them right there on the live database. So that is now in testing. Improved media management enables us to basically if we put a picture or a magazine or things of that nature up there, it has an improved for us way of managing it. Improved breadcrumb navigation, I'll show you what that is in a minute. User and SEO friendly URLs, I'll show you that in a minute. Potential for integration, we are now in testing of a partial integration. And ease of managing, just overall managing it with our marketing staff. And then we were able to enhance the radio show page, and I'll show you more of that. So all those changes have resulted in an increase to our conversion rate. So in 2016, which half the year was the new site, our conversion rate was 0.59%, and in 2017 it was 0.65. In 2014 it was 0.45, so we're on an upward. I was just getting ready to. So Kevin said, explain what that means. So if somebody comes to our website and they're counted as a visitor, and then they take action by joining as a member, then they get put in here. And I'll show you some figures about that in a bit. People coming to our website, I mentioned how important that responsive design is, are now, last year when we redesigned the site, half the people were on devices that were either tablets or phones, and now it's more than half, it's 55%. This is tablets, and this is telephones. 45% are still on desktop. And then of those phones, just FYI, most of them are iPhone or Android. These are all Android. So web traffic. Which channels are driving our engagement? In other words, what drives traffic to our website? Organic, and those are the kinds of things that if you search for something on Google and it comes up naturally, then that's considered organic. Direct would be if you save our edgarcasey.org website in your favorites and then you just go there, or you type it in, edgarcasey.org, and go there. That's direct traffic. Social is if you're on a social media site and you click through to our site. Referral is links from other pages, and the reason that's pretty high is because the way our website currently set up, if you need to log into the member section, you end up going back to the catalog, go to the catalog and come back. So that's going to change a bit in the future. And then paid, we do pay for some ads on Google, and we have a Google Grants account that I will show you in a moment. So here are some examples of organic traffic, or how organic traffic works. It's called SEO, search engine optimization, and search engines like Google will read our website content. They'll look at the headlines, the metadata, which we can now enter into the back end of the website. It will look at the URLs, the names at the top of the page content, and the names of image files. And what content draws the most organic traffic? The readings content pages. And just for clarity, I'm saying that's not the database. The database is in the member-only section, so it's not bringing traffic to our website. It's the actual pages on the public-facing site that brings traffic to our website, including the health database, which is a very important part of our search. But topics like earth changes, dream interpretation, castor oil prophecy, and the Akashic records are top searches that people have come to our site on. Content that is frequently updated, visited, and searched includes events, because we are constantly putting new events up, and our blog, and we often use speakers at our events will write a blog for us, or we'll pull some of their content. That way we can promote conferences when we do that. And then the radio show, we update that monthly. The blog is updated weekly, and the radio show is monthly. I think I told everybody last month that we now have Peter Woodbury hosting our radio show. So that's been going really well, and he works with Cindy now to schedule interviews. So web traffic that is paid traffic are Google AdWords. We have remarketing ads, the way these work, and these are all different sizes because it depends on what device you're on and what they're going to look like, what website you're on. But if somebody visits edgarcasey.org and then they go off to read the New York Times, one of our ads may appear in the banner at the top to remind them of us. And so they can click back, and we are tracking how many people are doing that and what they're doing when they click back. But this is also a membership advertisement. Our Google Grants account, on the other hand, although it's considered paid traffic, when we look at our web analytics, it is actually not costing us any money because we're a nonprofit, and we years ago applied for the grant and received it, and we've been getting up to $10,000 a month in free advertising since then. So this is what a Google Grants ad looks like. Okay. Now that is paid, so to speak, except we're not paying for it. This, on the other hand, is what organic traffic looks like. All of those, luckily, if you search Edgar Cayce Prophecy on Google, our website comes up the first 4 places, which is very nice to see. And if you look at this URL, it's telling Google what's on this page. Our URLs used to say things like edgarcayce.org/nonsense and numbers and ASPX. It wasn't telling Google what's on the page. So this was part of a critical change that we made. Google Grants. Year over year, if you look at 2015, we spent $94,000, but it was all waived. Again, this is a free Google nonprofit benefit. And so last year we were able to utilize even more of the grants availability, because we can spend up to $120,000 in a year, and we're up to $111,000 last year. Social traffic. So social media, how do we bring traffic to our website from social media? Well, these are all the social media accounts that we manage right now. This is a lot to take in, so I'm going to break it down to our most popular. And because Facebook is so darn popular, I'm going to pull that one out so you can see better. This is Facebook. These are the other pages. You can see that all of them, this is the A.R.E Facebook page, is still growing. The Dream Group, which is really popular, Dream Interpretation, has about 14,000 members. Our Instagram account, Twitter, and then YouTube. And for a second there, I'll talk about YouTube. So this is just for the month of July. We had 33,000 views of our videos with an average watch time of 14 minutes and 336 shares. And these were the places that most people were located when they viewed our videos. We had 298 likes. We increased our subscribers by 457. This again is still just July. And these were our top 10 videos for the month. How to make a castor oil pack is number 1. That's a really old video, but it's still producing for us. So. Edgar Casey on health, healing, and rejuvenation. That's John Van Auken. Kevin's Akashic Records. Angels, Fairies, and Unseen Forces. John Van Auken. Here's some more. I'm just gonna, and you can see that our Reflections radio show for the month was also within the top 10, and that's the same radio show that you see on our page on the website. And just so you know, this is our subscribers, and we have 27,000 subscribers, and our video views are now at 5.1 million on YouTube. Yay. Facebook. So the popular Facebook, the official Edgar Casey page is our most popular page. We have 188,000 people who like that page. That means they see our post. And what does it mean to have a post seen? For example, on this post, we had 570 likes, but it had a reach of 17,000, just this one post. And we post a reading on Facebook every day, among other things. But these we make sure we post daily. Our Facebook fans, if you take a look at this age range and the percent of women, it's pretty close to our demographic of members. This is our demographic of people who visit our website. It's a good match for that as well. This is traffic sources to our website. I just want to point out that Facebook is number 5 and number 7. And again, the reason the A.R.E catalog is a popular traffic source is because of the going back and forth with the login. But that will change when our site gets completely integrated. What other ways do we market online? Basically, just featuring online right now, but the additional marketing we're doing is we market field events across the country by going to the area in which the event is happening and finding online ways that are free even to advertise our event for that area. So these are some of the places we're advertising for free across the country. E-news marketing is a really important source of income for all of our income producing areas. And this is being upgraded. We're in the process of updating it, and we have to make it compliant with the Canada Spam Act, which is tougher even than the US one, and says that you have to prove that somebody opted into your email. You can't just say, well, I had their email address and they're a customer, so I'm gonna start sending them things. We also respond to media requests. Our public information department is responsive and somewhat proactive because we do send out news releases all the time as well. This is just two recent examples of the way in which we respond to media. Channel 13 is going to be doing a paranormal series with Lucy Bustamante. She's in, I think it's called Daybreak, and then she's on at noon. So she's there from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then on the noon show. And she's wanted to include us in her series. And so she's already been on site twice. She interviewed Kevin, she interviewed Joe. We had her interview a psychic that works with the bookstore. And then she's going to come back for our psychic fair on August 26th. We're hoping we're going to have a nice crowd here. So if you were ever wondering what a psychic fair is like and you haven't come, that's the day to come. Give blood and get on film if you want. Or hide from the camera. It's okay. The other thing that happened really recently was Tuesday morning, just yesterday, Kevin was interviewed by a Russian production company who's working on a film about Edgar Cayce to be released as part of a special New Year's program that they're having. And that station's demographic is women aged 25 to 59, with a potential audience of 64 million people. Now, this is interesting. If you look at our website demographics, Russia is number 6 in traffic to our site. Isn't that something? This is just for the month of July. The other thing that we have happening, this is quasi-online. We, Krista Zenner, who works in the bookstore, I think she's part-time, she recently suggested that we check out this Save 30 program. I hadn't heard of it. This is a fairly new radio station. They were over on the peninsula longer than they've been on the south side. But the way it works is we're doing two things with them. We're doing an awareness campaign, and we're also doing the Save 30. So the awareness campaign is going to have a commercial running on air as early as tomorrow. I'm going to play it for you in a second. And it's going to just talk about how, hey, we're here and we're open to the public, and a couple of things that we do just to, let everybody know. And then after that runs for a little bit, we'll start doing the advertising for the Save 30. And what that is we've given them some tickets to our Psychic Development Conference in November. And those tickets, they will then sell 30% off. That's why it's called Save 30. So they'll promote those tickets, but they'll give us ad revenue equal to the full value of those tickets. So I'm going to play those two for you right now, I think. Or I'm not doing that. Kevin's doing that. This is the first one. Oops.
Holistic health, profound personal transformation. Where do you start? What if I told you the country's largest metaphysical library, the worldwide headquarters for the father of holistic medicine, a beautiful spa and meditation garden, they're all right here in Virginia Beach. Edgar Cayce's Association for Research and Enlightenment is open to the public, and with many aspects totally free, there's no reason not to stop in and find if enlightenment speaks to you. Edgar Cayce's A.R.E. on 67th Street in North End. Online at edgarcayce.org.
That's the awareness one. That's nice, huh? They did such a good job. Okay, and this is the Save 30 one.
Awaken your innate psychic abilities and put insight into action with Edgar Cayce's A.R.E.'s Psychic Development Conference. November 10th through 12th, renowned psychics and intuitives will lead you on a journey of self-discovery as you awaken the psychic within. And right now, a very limited number of attendees can save on admission. Tickets are available on the Save 30 store at save30.com. Learn to experience your psychic ability. Visit save30.com and search for Edgar Cayce's A.R.E.'s Psychic Development Conference.
Yay. I thought they they interviewed us, Cindy and I, and they just did a great job pulling together everything we wanted to express, I think. So, really good. All right, what's next? So I mentioned integration of the website with our database. What that means is instead of customer service printing out event registrations and things like that, they're going to go directly into Aptify. And that particular thing is now in testing. So it's as far as marathon goes, they've done it. We just have to test it, make sure it works before we, make it live. So it's on their development site in the testing process. Once events are done, then we'll move on to other things, donations, memberships, things like that. On-demand subscription. After all the integration is done and over with, we would like to have an on-demand subscription section for video. Whether that's going to be how that's going to work, we're not sure exactly, but we do plan to have a subscription section. So rather than somebody paying per one-off for on-demand live stream and things like that we offer now, we'll have a section where all of them are, and maybe they can get access to it for 90 days, that kind of thing. Online astrology chart delivery. I've been saying this for 10 years, but I swear it's on the horizon. I swear. Catalog site merged into edgarcasey.org. Once we're integrated, we won't need a separate site for the catalog. We're going to have everything within edgarcasey.org and sell it right from there. You can put a book in your shopping cart and sign up for a conference all at the same time and give us a donation and make sure you're a member, everything at once. Improved readings database, that's in testing. Searchable online PDFs, that's a project we worked with the library on so that the content within the PDF is searchable as well. Now, if it's in the member section and you've searched our site, it'll come up and ask you to log in. And if you're not a member, it'll let you know, gosh, we have this great content. If you were only a member, you could see it. And then coming in 2018, besides the expo that I already talked about, member-only content monthly enlightenment series. It's going to be Kevin's 12 lessons in personal spirituality on video and as downloadable lessons, and it starts in January. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Peter Woodbury, and I'm going to, shortly there'll be a PowerPoint. I wanted to title it, Peter Went to Brazil, and All I Got Was a PowerPoint. So let's proceed. With A.R.E. Tours, they're best known for visiting spiritual sites, but we're starting to include spiritual people. I remember with Charles Thomas one time getting the chance as a group to meet the Dalai Lama. And so that was a real special encounter. And last year we went to see the John of God of Peru. And this year we went to visit the better known John of God of Brazil. Maybe some of you, how many of you have heard of John of God of Brazil? Okay, good. And then how many of you have been to visit the site? So one of you. Okay, good. Well, let's proceed. That's Brazil. And this is Brasilia, the capital of Brazil, and Abadania, where John of God has his, they call it a casa, which is a kind of, to me it looks like an ashram. It's just a spiritual center where he's now 75 years old, and so he's in attendance from Wednesday through Friday. So he works 3 days a week at the casa. Oh, wait. Yeah, and this is John of God. Now, I didn't know all that much about him before going. I didn't know a lot of the details. And in our language, we would say he's a full trance healer medium. So they call it incorporating. He incorporates about 8 entities that are mostly doctors and healers, and he uses this incorporation to perform different types of healings. And so our language, we might say like a possession. I guess that's an ugly word, so they just call it incorporation. It's just these entities work through him. And here he is with, had been very well known in Brazil. He became well known internationally when he appeared on the Oprah show. And this woman here is Heather Cumming. She was our contact. We stayed at her center while we were at her guest house while we were there. She speaks 7 languages, and so she's been his interpreter. She's very close with him, and she runs the Casa Center. She's the author also of this book on John of God. So she was a wonderful resource person to have while we were visiting. This is, I think, most of our group. There's Heather. This is Monica, who works with Heather. Monica came with the group from the States, so it was really, we were really taken care of. I'm somewhere in here. I don't know. Did I fall down? I'm in there somewhere. Okay. And so this is the some views of the casa. It's just a simple, kind of very bucolic setting. Some of these pictures I took, some I didn't. They're become less photography friendly. So in the history you were able to, but sometimes you'll see when John of God comes in a room in the old days, there's just so many people standing up with their cell phones that it would block the view of people in the back. So they've started limiting the use of cameras. So this is, when you first arrive, they give you an appointment, and this is called a crystal bed. And I remember thinking that I would be lying on a bed of crystals. It's not quite that. These are man-made crystals. There's 7 of them. These move, and so you align them to your chakras, and then they have different color lights that go through these crystals, and then they're supposed to stimulate your chakras and stimulate healing. And so there was one that was included in the tour, and people could pay for other ones if they wanted to. It felt like a peaceful kind of meditation while you were there for an hour. And this is kind of the stage that he comes out. I wasn't able to take a picture of him when he was there. He comes out of this door, and he comes on the stage, and this is where he does these healings, these type of surgeries that he performs. Now, these are all the predominant entities that work with him. Most of them are well known in Brazil. I think that he's Brazilian, obviously, so he started off, I think, with more of a resonance with the Brazilian people. Now, we'll talk a little bit about what type of healing this is, if it's faith healing. Edgar Cayce said all healing is faith healing. And I think that, these are doctors from Brazilian history. I think to us, it would be like as if he was channeling Dr. Oz or something, or some doctor that's famous in our tradition. So they're just some of these. When I heard their names, they just didn't have any meaning for me personally. And so I was treated a little bit like a VIP, and so I was allowed to be closer to the stage. I was not this close. This is a picture I took off of the internet, but this is more or less what I saw without the flashlight. He just a woman came up on a wheelchair. He was standing behind her. He rolled her head back. He took out kind of what seemed like pliers and started scraping her eye. Once he was done with the pliers, he took a knife and started poking around, over the eye, and it seemed like inside the eye. There was no blood. The woman seemed very in a trance, very reverential. And then he pronounced, "She's healed," and we all applauded. I had no idea what she had, or did she think she was healed? I saw her later, and she seemed fine. But so that just this is the kind of thing that happens. And then he wasn't blindfolded when I was there, but this is he occasionally will do this to show that it's not him, that he is in a full trance, and he's here performing one of these surgeries. Heather had one of these, and she says it feels painful at the time, but afterwards she experienced the healing. Now, it's not that this surgery, it's not like they have an eye problem. It's something, they'll have something else systemic that goes through that somehow this eye stimulation creates the healing potentials. He does do surgeries too. There were none during the week that we were there. He'll cut a person, and they show videos kind of like the camera here as you're in the lobby or waiting area. You're watching videos of these surgeries. He's actually operated on himself. It seems that there's no documentation of anybody getting an infection. You know, it's just a knife that's not like you would find in a surgery operating room. It just cuts somebody, or he cuts himself. He bleeds it. Sometimes he takes something out, and then he sews them up. Looks very, I don't know, primitive might be the word. And so after he comes out and he performs that first healing, then you get in line to go and meet with him. It's not really meet with him, but you walk by him. And so this is the line. And he is now fully incorporated. And while you're up there, he gives you 3 different options about whether to come back tomorrow or to go sit in current. And I'll show you what that is. And I don't remember what the third one is. The third one is, I can't help you. No, I don't know but there are these 3 options. I got the one of coming back in current. Some people got the one of coming back the next day. And while he's in trance, he's writing on this prescription pad. So he's in trance and his hand is constantly moving, and then he gives every individual a prescription. So here's the prescription that he gives, which is this one. When I got up to him, he rolled his eyes. That's when I knew he was a trance medium, because he was channeling my mother. So when I recognized that look immediately. No, I didn't know what that meant, you know. He didn't seem to be doing it for the others. Later they told me that meant that the entities were changing, you know, that they were, I don't know, tag teaming out. So they saw me, I'm out of here, and hopefully the next entity came in to work with me. And so he gives you this prescription. Now the story with the prescription, probably one of the only times I felt like a little dubious, because he's writing these things out, and then you get the prescription and you go to their pharmacy. Everybody gets the exact same prescription. Everybody gets passion flower extract. And we were told that the reason you're getting the passion flower extract is because after you sit in current, that you may have an internal operation. There's some evidence that some people have inner sutures and these sorts of things, and that the passion flower is for an anti-inflammatory kind of herb that doesn't have negative side effects, but it's for anti-inflammation. And then you're told after current, you take the passion flower, and then you're told, because of the intensity of the experience with the entities in the current room, that you're going to be tired and you're going to need to rest. And so the first day, the people that sat in current and took their passion flower, they all slept for hours. And so I was thinking, wow, was that true? Do you really get tired after the entities work with you? So the next day when I sat in current and I took my passion flower, I also slept for a few hours. And I was thinking, wow, maybe this is working. Maybe that is the case. But then when I Googled passion flower extract, the main use of passion extract is as a sleep aid. And so I just felt a little tricky that they would do that, you know. So anyway, I'll start using it when I need to sleep. I'll make sure to say good things too. And so this is sitting in current. Basically, sitting in current is you're meditating. He has been sitting here during the day. You kind of come in, or actually maybe it's down there. You walk in through here, and that's where you get your prescription. And then later in the day, you sit in the room where the entities, he'll channel these 6 different ones, but they use the word phalange, that there are just thousands of entities working in this space, and they continue to work with you apparently after you leave the casa. You're supposed to follow a certain regimen for 40 days after you leave. So I gave a talk while I was there, and just some of my observations. Well, before I do that, let me just kind of talk about the group that we had. There were, probably the person with the most significant illness had Parkinson's with the severe tremors. What we all felt is, in the time that we were there, we felt some relief. There was a sense of the first couple days that I was there, the forms were so different than what I'm used to. You know, it made me think about what it must have been like to come and see Edgar Cayce. I mean, we're all kind of comfortable with Edgar Cayce, but none of us here have had a reading unless June is here. You know, we're all reading it. I wonder what it would have been like in that day to come and see a man lay down on a couch and begin to talk in this trance that he was in. And so there must have been overcoming this kind of unusual presentation of this man. And so I felt that same with John of God. I just felt strange that there would be these medium or these entities moving in and out of him, and how these kind of surgeries that he was conducting. So it took me a few days to kind of, at first I would have to say he wasn't stimulating my faith. There was just a barrier. But by the third day, I tried to work with the concepts that I have about that the healing is really within, that it's God that does the healing. And so I thought, is this kind of a source? Is this like a well that you can use if you want to? And that felt like it resonated more with me. By the third day, I was just using the energies that were there in ways that, through Jesus or through God, to bring whatever healing I needed. And I did feel also that, he's been doing this since he's 8 years old. He's 75 now. To dedicate this much time. I don't believe that he's a wealthy man. I don't think that he seems to be genuine. That one of the things I wanted to do was meet him and just get a feeling for him. And I just get a sense of really somebody who's dedicating himself to be of help to others and to stimulate faith. He certainly has healed many people. The feeling you get there is also they tell you all the stories of the healings. They don't say, oh, the A.R.E. brought a guy and nothing happened to him. There's not a statistical analysis of how many people experience this. But in the time we were there, one woman reported that her eyesight was better. Since then, we had a traveler who had lost a leg as a teenager, she's now in her 50s. And she said that since she's been back, she's had to get fitted with a new prosthetic because her leg has grown back over half an inch. And so there's something. She was very faithful. She was one of the people that was really into this, really using these energies constructively. And so just with, and then I don't know if we have any time for a quick question, or you can catch me later. There's no plan to replace John of God. They're not training the next John of God. And he's also moved away from physical surgeries to what they call spiritual surgeries or spiritual interventions. It's less about people coming up and getting cut up or their eyes scraped, and more about people working with the energies spiritually. And I think that we're moving in our time, like when I think of 2,000 years ago, the great healer was Jesus, and you could show up, with Parkinson's, you could show up blind, you could show up dead. You didn't have to do much. Jesus did the heavy lifting for you. And then that, we saw how that worked or didn't work. It was kind of like a healing welfare. Just show up and you get a handout. And so we've moved to, then Edgar Cayce says, well, maybe we're going to adjust this. And with Edgar Cayce, he was kind of the intermediary. He diagnosed your illness and told you what to do. So he didn't do it for you. So you had to go get your colonics and eat less pizza, all those kind of things. You had to make changes to access the healing. And I think what we're moving into with the new age is that we can access that directly. I think the inner Christ and the inner Edgar Cayce, whatever you want to call it, in the work that I've been doing with hypnosis, seeing more and more how people are accessing the inner healer. All right, do we have time for a question or two? One question. It better be a good one. Yes?
One of the women on there called me and said that she had been cured of breast cancer.
Oh.
She was the one that was a PhD psychologist and brought her son.
Okay, apparently there was a healing from breast cancer. That's significant, huh? Good. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, I'm going to introduce you to our guest speaker, longtime member and a friend, Jack Rosen. Jack holds a BA in psychology from Long Island University and a master's from C.W. Post College. He taught science and math for the New York City Board of Education for 35 years, and half of those years he also counseled drug-addicted students. After retiring, he spent the next 12 years in the South Bronx Job Corps, helping homeless people, gang members, and addicts get their GED. An expert on the Casey remedies, Jack has been speaking and giving workshops for the past 15 years. He's appeared on local TV shows in Westchester and Manhattan. He also spoke on remedies here at our Congress Week this year. He also served as chairman of the board of A.R.E. New York for 4 years. Would you join with me in a warm welcome for Jack Rosen?
Thank you. Not true. None of it. Hello. I want to thank Kevin for giving me the opportunity to address you today and for producing the 3 Edgar Casey Remedy videos that we did on Monday. I've been using today I'll be talking about my experiences with the Edgar Casey Remedies. I've been using the Edgar Casey Remedies I've been studying the Edgar Casey readings for over 50 years. And I've used them in many of what Edgar Casey would call opportunities in my life. It's helped me through a lot of difficult situations. One of those areas has to do with forgiveness. I believe because of my lack of forgiveness and anger, I came down with Parkinson's disease, Raynaud's disease, and arthritis 2 years ago, from which I'm now totally healed. If it wasn't for the Edgar Casey remedies, I'd be standing in front of you suffering with Parkinson's disease, which WebMD will give you the diagnosis, progressive neurological disease that is incurable, that both my father and uncle suffered from. So I decided to use the Edgar Casey definition of Parkinson's disease. Let's see. Wrong way. Oh. If there is that attitude of bringing help and of keeping helpful forces through the periods when the applications are made, we may eradicate almost entirely this deficiency that is called the Parkinson's disease. Now, to me, it's very interesting that he calls it the Parkinson's disease. It's almost like the source is looking down and saying to us, if you'd like to call these symptoms Parkinson's disease, that's okay. But it's not incurable, and do what we tell you to do, and you'll get over it. Now, let me give you a little background into what this is all about. So 2 years ago, I was having dinner with my son and his wife, and my son said, "Your hand is shaking." So interesting, my initial reaction was anger and denial. And I said, "There's nothing wrong with me." I said, "You know, I'm going to be 70 a little while, so I have friends, their hands shake, and parts of your body start to go south." So I said, you know, not a big deal. From that point on, for the next month, everything got progressively worse. I lost my sense of smell, my sense of taste. I couldn't turn over in bed. It was like unbelievable effort. I lost my balance. My handwriting changed. I couldn't hold a pen. my fingers would start to shake, and the worst part was when I was asleep at night, and I'm a pretty controlled guy. I like to know what's going on, and I would lay there watching my hand shake. That's very bad, trust me. I was watching it, and then you can't sleep. And then we added that, the joints on my toe, on my finger, my thumb started to swell and throb. That kept me up. Then I would go for a walk, and while I was walking, the tops of my fingers would turn white, my toes would turn white. It felt like I had puddles on the bottom of my feet, and some of my toes fell, please not, one of my nails fell off, and I got to the point where I could barely drive, and sometimes I'd go for a walk and I'd have to turn around because I was in so much pain. I had this book in my house. I was looking at the circulating files on Parkinson's disease, and I actually had this book, which you have here in the library, The Edgar Cayce Way of Overcoming Multiple Sclerosis by Using Vibratory Medicine by Dudley Delaney. That was my Bible for a year and a half. Whatever that book said to do, that's what I did. So what happened was, from that point on, I drastically changed my diet. I started using the etomidine 5 days a week, which I had been on and off with, but then it became, this is what I did. Prayer, meditation. The only two authors that I read during that year and a half, there was two. One was Edgar Cayce, and I'm just going to say an aside here. I've studied all these people. I've been down to Brazil 5 times. John of God is not Edgar Cayce, not even close. I don't want to get into John of God, but there is no other Edgar Cayce. So let me get back to this. I use the etomidine, the diet, the prayer, the meditation, and then I'll say what. I used the violet ray, colonics, the apple diet. There was nothing that I didn't do. I did it all. What I would say is the foundation of this treatment, what I believe really healed me, I'll have to say first, I would say spiritually. If I wasn't able to let go of a lot of that anger and lack of forgiveness that I was going through for many reasons, which I don't want to go through, I don't think any of it would have worked. I think I would have blocked it and it wouldn't have happened. But I read Edgar Cayce and Eckhart Tolle. Those were the videos, website, all of it. That's pretty much what my reading was for a year and a half. And the cornerstone of this treatment, I think, is the Radiac, the radial appliance. I use the radial appliance with the gold solution and the silver solution. Edgar Cayce said if you use the Radiac with the gold solution, it'll give you a new brain. If you use the Radiac with the silver solution, it'll rejuvenate the entire nervous system. If you look at the May-June 2006 issue of Venture Inward, there'll be an article on this woman whose whole family had Alzheimer's disease and who was able, out of 10 of them, 8 of them died except her and her brother. She was able to, I think when I spoke to Kevin, you said she died. She was the original chairman here of the, first female chairman of the A.R.E, yeah. So that's what I did. And I did that every day, and I'm still doing it. I believe it's the fountain of youth. that's my personal opinion. I think that by using the radial appliance, by using the etomidine, by following the Edgar Cayce protocols, it will extend your lifetime. I just don't, I have friends that are physicians, and I have these conversations all the time. Everybody comes out of the same cookie box. They all come out of the same school. Edgar Cayce was talking about the Mediterranean diet 100 years ago. Edgar Cayce, there's still no cure for psoriasis and eczema. Go to a dermatologist and see what they give you, besides steroids and all the other stuff. He was so ahead of his time. I mean, I don't even call them readings anymore. I call them messages from God. That's what you have from Edgar Cayce. Doesn't get any better than the information that came through him. And that's what I used to heal myself. I sent Kevin and I sent Sydney an article about my experiences, which will be it'll be published in the fall June issue of Venture Inward, where I go into it in a little more detail. Now, another area that I've been using for a long, long time has to do with fractures, sprains, ligaments, plantar fasciitis, and I'll talk a little bit about that. I give workshops sometimes up in Rochester, New York. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law have a salon there. They employ a couple of hundred people, and they have about 15 massage therapists. So I go up there and I give workshops on the remedies to the therapists and their staff. One of the therapists, whose husband is an arborist, for fun in the middle of winter, him and his buddy decided to climb a frozen waterfall, and from which he fell off of. Had to be medevaced out by helicopter to Strong Memorial Hospital. And when she got there, there was a priest waiting for them because they didn't expect him to make it. And they wanted to prepare her for what was going to happen. I'll just show you a little 2.5-minute clip of the video I did, because after I'll explain the story, I interviewed them for 20 minutes. The video is on YouTube. If you pop in Edgar Cayce, A Miracle Healing, you can see the entire interview. It's about 20 minutes. So let me show it to you, and then I'll explain a little bit more about what it's all about.
And they quickly, started to check him over, and slowly, one injury after another, the list started to get long. Your injuries included?
I broke both my ankles, fractured my pelvis, broke 5 ribs, and fractured 2 vertebrae in my back. I also bruised my bladder,
torn carotid artery.
Tore carotid artery, and there was probably some soft tissue damage up and down.
Your knees. Yeah.
Right knee. I think that was the extent of it. Oh, and they said I basically had some sort of paralysis in my face. When I would smile, only one side would go up, the other, there was just nothing there. So I had some nerve damage in my face. I definitely hit my head on that fall. And
your helmet, really.
My helmet, yeah, kind of, obviously saved my life, having the helmet on, but had, I guess, wreaked some havoc up in the area.
Mm-hmm. So we got to the hospital, and we shortly found out all his injuries, and they casted him up. They wanted to do surgery on his right ankle because they said that it was so bad that the blood flow was going to be a problem.
There's a main artery that goes through the bone,
and his talus bone, and that the best thing for him would be to take it, so he didn't have to worry about any of those problems. And I questioned can you even see it that well on the X-ray? It's so swollen, and why would we do this? And their answer was that they had the best surgeon in Rochester.
When you say take it, what do you mean take it?
They wanted to amputate his ankle to his foot off.
Okay.
To secure that there wouldn't be any sort of blood flow issue or blood clotting, or So they
I shattered the talus bone on my right ankle.
terribly, and they said that there's no way they could reset it to ever make it heal. And I asked why tonight, why can't we wait till tomorrow to see when the swelling goes down, and they said we have the best surgeon on tonight. That was their answer for why we should do it. But they didn't do it, and they casted both of his ankles, his back. They weren't 100% on the pelvis at that point, being fractured because of the swelling.
It wasn't until 2 weeks after they re-x-rayed me.
So
So I said my pelvis just really hurts. I don't think I complained much about all the other injuries except my pelvis hurt, and that was the one thing nobody told us anything about. So they re-x-rayed me and found out that it was fractured.
Mhm.
They couldn't see that in the beginning.
It was just too much swelling
Right.
with everything. So his for the first week we didn't do much by way of actual packs or anything. It was just more positive thinking because he was so casted from pretty much head to toe.
I think right from the hospital though, I remember that first night when I got to the hospital it was about noon, and I think it was like midnight when I finally made it to my room and got off the backboard.
Right.
But that next day, I remember just the positive thinking. It's not me. Nothing's going to stop me. This is just a hiccup in the road. This is nothing. I'm going to get better. And I was in the hospital for 5 days, and I think just right from the start, positive energy and positive thinking made everything a lot easier. So I think right from day one we started that. And the friends and family that came in to see us just brought, I believe brought good positive energy with them.
Okay. What the doctors had told him when she got there was that if he survived, they didn't think he was going to survive. He would probably be an invalid, he'd be in a wheelchair for 6 to 9 months. I don't know if you noticed, the reason I interjected there, she couldn't even say the word amputate. She just kept saying, they're going to take it, they're going to take it. So finally I said, I wanted her to say, they were going to amputate. She's a massage therapist. She started massaging him with the Egyptian oil, or the bar product is called A.R.E. He would actually take castor oil packs and put it over his cast. He said, as long as I'm laying there, I got nothing else to do. So that's what he did. He put the packs over his cast, and as soon as things started coming off, she would use the castor oil packs. She would massage him. They started using the apple cider vinegar and salt packs. He was walking in 6 months. A year and a half later, he won the New York State Tree Climbing Championship. Using the Edgar Cayce remedies. And if it wasn't for the Edgar Cayce remedies, he'd be minus a foot right now. So I've been using what he did, I've been using for 50 years. That was one of the first remedies I ever used. I've used it on fractures, sprains, carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis. I just had a friend used it for plantar fasciitis. She was going to go on a cruise and she was in pain. She used the castor oil sock, slept with it every night for a week, totally healed. And I just saw her at her 40th anniversary last week, still totally healed. This is one of those remedies that nobody knows about, which is what I did on the video Monday, how to make an apple cider salt pack, how to use a castor oil pack for fractures and sprains, how to massage with the A.R.E. Nobody knows about it. And that's one of the reasons I hope things will change, is that more people will know about it. Now, another area that I've been using over the years, last week, 2 weeks ago, I did a workshop. I'm working with a Dr. Carrero in New York City. I give workshops there at the end of every month on the Edgar Cayce remedies. And she actually went looking for me. She read There Is a River. She was having one of these crises. She was almost ready to give up her license. She read There Is a River, and it was a life changer for her. And we finally got together, and I give workshops there every month. the first workshop I gave at her office, I was a little early. I walk in there, and she had a man who was in stage 4 cancer, had his shirt off, and I said, oh, I'll come back. She says, no, sit down, and we started talking. She was using the violet ray and the animated ash on him. I almost felt like crying because for 50 years, it's the first time I actually saw a doctor using the Edgar Cayce remedies the way he said to use them. So I did a workshop with them last week 2 weeks ago. It was on feminine health problems, and which had to do with ovarian cysts, fibroids, HPV. And while I was giving the workshop, she asked if she could tell a story, especially since her office. I said, go ahead, do whatever you want. And apparently her daughter has had endometriosis. And she used the Edgar Cayce treatment for feminine problems. Now, what that treatment is castor oil packs, douching with etomidine, a teaspoon of etomidine in a quart of warm water using a fountain syringe, tablespoon of glycothymoline, alternating one day one day the other, quart of warm water, and taking the etomidine internally. Her daughter was totally healed. Using the medical treatments, nothing. Using the Cayce treatments, she was healed. Again, I've used the same treatment over the years. Fibroids, ovarian, HPV, all of it, it works. And the thing that upsets me the most is nobody knows about it. I was giving a workshop at the Open Center, and I was asking the people that worked there, I said, did you ever hear of Edgar Cayce? And 9 out of 10 of them didn't know who he was. And that's part of the problem. And besides not knowing who he is, even when I speak to people here about the Radiac and how do you use it and what is it, and it's really relatively simple. It's easy, and it's a life changer. So, to sort of wrap it up, and I could talk more, but I won't, because I can't. I've been given a certain amount of time. Everybody has opportunities in life. Some of them are spiritual, mental, physical. It's only by applying, and I can't say that loud enough, by application, the Cayce concepts of love, forgiveness, service, and all the other fruits of the Spirit that he talks about. The realization that I am my brother's keeper and that we are all one, that true healing can take place. In many of the readings that you'll see on multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, Edgar Cayce says in the readings, if you don't change the way you act, the way you think, if you don't let go of your anger, if you don't let go of your hatred, quote, best not to begin. I made a decision to begin. Thank you.
Okay, we've all run over this time, so I'm going to share my 2 Ecuador stories with you at our next meeting, and Joe's going to share our fire safety video at our next meeting. I want to remind everyone we need some bodies in here for taping, for development, but let me run through our list of birthdays. We've got lots of July and August birthdays. Staff and volunteers. July, Heather Anderson, Nancy Becker, May Dozier, Deborah Edwards, Mary Gaskill, Jackie Harrison, Christy Holmes, Virginia Koch, Karen Lauterbach, Noreen Leary, Bibi Locklear, Jenny Taylor Martin, Mindy Mizak, Mary Pinnell, Christy Presler, Robert Rose, Jeannie Smith, James Van Auken, and Phyllis Winters. And in terms of August birthdays, we have Kathleen Adams, Angie Barrup, Pat Belisle, Christopher Bersamini, Diane Brown, Laura Brown, Malcolm Brown, Dana Consuelo, Denise Ferguson, Patricia Gallagher, Susan Marsh, Claire Powell, Yulia Richardson, Carol Street, and Kenneth Watts. Thank you all for being here. Jack, thanks for coming here. Let's all stay. Who's directing us? Jackie, are you directing? Stay with Jackie so we can get your photo for a development shoot. Thank you all. See you in October.